What is the purpose of punishment in relation to crime? What do you think about punishment for corrupt people? Love, money, and power. Isn't power part of money?
Can't have power if you don't have money. Shall we talk about crime, everybody?
Should we talk about crime? Ah, this is fun. Like before, for people who are new here, we're answering normal IELTS question. This is the part 3 question, so you have to elaborate more. But we're not strictly following like the IELTS guideline. However, we hope that you guys can pick up some vocabulary here and there from our answers, right? Okay, so crime. First question, why do people commit crimes? Why do people commit crimes?
So I'm going to give this from a more American perspective, because when I was in America, crime was much more prominent and much more relevant in my area. Like, crime was happening all around me. And I would say that a big reason people commit crimes is for the simple fact that they have no other choice. Because at that point, it's just a matter of survival. And, you know, for example, in the United States, if you have a criminal background, it's basically almost impossible to get a job, especially a good paying job. And especially if you have a wife, if you have kids, it's a matter of survival. And so if you have no choice, you got to do what you got to do, whether it be you got to shoplift. Damn, if that's what you got to do, you got to do it.
So a lot of people commit crimes because they have no other option. That could be one thing, right? That's basically what Dean said. I believe that people commit crime only for 2 things. Can you guess what they are?
What?
Take a guess. 2 things.
Why people commit crimes?
Why people commit crimes?
Lack of education?
No, that's not one of it. The reason why people commit crimes is money and love.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from in that regard.
Okay, so money, not fame. Why would you want to be a famous criminal? Some people might want to, but in my opinion, people commit crimes because of 2 things, money and love. So the first reason is money. We need money to survive. Whether we believe that it's important or not is irrelevant, because you need money to do a lot of things in the world. And I'm not talking about a lot of money. Even pennies is kind of important for some people, right? Especially people living in poverty. It's also related to the education issue, you know, in a way. And then there's also love. A lot of people commit crime because of their feelings, usually related to love. So it could be revenge. Revenge is a lot of things. I think we have a few cases in Indonesia where people commit crimes because of revenge, right? Or because they're jealous. Jealousy usually stems from some type of love, in my opinion. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I feel you when you say that. I mean, how many stories have you seen from different parts of the world where a man stabs his wife because she found her in bed with another man?
Yeah.
Or a wife stabs her man because he finds him in bed with another woman. We've seen that in different parts of the world.
Power. Love, money, and power. Isn't power part of money?
Can't have power if you don't have money. But I know that some people in the world, they commit the crimes they do because it's a part of their belief system. But I don't want to go too deep into that.
Yeah, no, that's not. Open that can of worms. That's dangerous. Okay. But yeah. Oh, let's open it a little bit. I have something to say. There are some cultures that believe that if you do not participate in a particular tradition that they have, and the tradition is not entirely beneficial or legal, you know, then yeah, you're not part of it or something like that. That exists in many cultures, actually, not just one, right? What is this? I think so. Some people believe that if they have money, they obtain power. Okay, I agree with you, Miss Mina. Love and money is a source of crime. Okay, thank you. What else? What makes good people act more for kindness, right? Oh, they're responding to someone, but we didn't see the original comment.
And I will also say this, though. Some people resort to crimes for the simple fact that where they're from, they genuinely have no choice. I don't think a lot of people grasp how rough it is in some parts of the world. Like, genuinely, their economy is cooked in Gen Z terms.
Even the thing, like, why do people become terrorists? Right? That simple question, why do people become terrorists? Usually terrorists are committing crimes in one way or another, right? Why do people join cartels, drug cartels? Why are you doing it, right? most of the time it's because someone set them up. That could be something, or maybe you're having a weak moment, you know. Why do people join cults and stuff like that? That's not related to crime, but you know, like, why does it happen? It could be because you're weak mentally, you have nowhere to go, and these are the only people in front of you that are giving you attention, and then you're, you know, swept into it.
It is a real thing, especially if you come from, you know, one really, really rough area, low income, high poverty, and if you really have no choice. For example, if everybody around you joined a gang, joined a cartel, then naturally you're going to get roped into it. And unfortunately, in some parts of the world where these problems are very prominent, you really have no choice.
This is why when you said education is the cause, I didn't really agree. This person explained it well. Namanya Ali. Educated people are more prone to committing white-collar crimes, which is worse than normal crimes. I don't know if it's worse or not, right? Because, but we can say that, yeah, white-collar crimes are usually committed by people who are more educated.
Yep.
Smart people.
Because they're smart enough to know how to plan it, the different loopholes in the legal system, the different loopholes in whatever infrastructure exists where they're at. It's a real thing.
What is that? Okay, never mind. I don't know what that is. Okay. I think ultimately what makes people do crime is just comfort. They do what they think is gonna give them comfort. Huh. That is an interesting way to put the statement.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you have no other choice, you go rob a grocery store, you come home, your family has food. Or if you have no money and rent's due, or you got a bunch of debt, you rob someone, you take their wallet, and it helps ease the pain. That's one way to look at it.
Okay, next question. How can criminals be rehabilitated?
You have a strong opinion about that.
Let's not. Okay, so rehabilitation, I think it is possible, but I think there should be a limit to how many times they can reoffend, you know? Some people have a really high chance of reoffending, and I think that in that case, you know, they're just a lost cause, and you might want to just put them in jail because it's not going to be fixed. But I do believe that rehabilitation is not impossible. But I think there should be a limit of how many times you can be rehabilitated, you know?
And it also depends on the nature of their crime. Because some people, they commit crimes, again, this is just my opinion, these days, some people have mental health issues. And because of whatever mental health issue they have, they commit the crime. Some people can be fixed, some people can be healed, but some people are just lost causes. Again, I'm trying to show a more empathetic view on this. Because, like I said earlier, some people do this because they have no choice. But mental illness, trauma, like somebody that had a traumatic childhood, traumatic upbringing, they're more likely to resort to crime in the future. It's, how would I say it? Sometimes crime is a cycle. And that cycle is really hard to break, especially if it's all you know. I mean, imagine if your family, your parents or your parent, they commit crimes, and then everyone around you, they join a gang or they join a group that commits crimes. It's very difficult to break out of that.
So to re-emphasize the point, rehabilitation is possible for certain crimes. That's what I think. Yeah, not all crimes or criminals deserve rehabilitation, in my opinion, because sometimes there are things that are just way too horrendous to forgive, you know, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to take note that if a country, city, county, whatever it may be, if they want to put in the time and effort to rehabilitate people, it's going to cost money. And where's that money going to come from? The taxpayer and private investors? Who knows?
Yeah. So basically, yes, rehabilitation is definitely something that should be done, but I think there should be limitations to it. Basically, that's that.
Oh, here's an interesting one.
What?
Bining Ming, you ask. But what about someone who does crime only for fun?
Now, see, those type of people are lost causes.
Yep. It's a real thing where some people, they commit crimes because it's fun or they get a high from it. And it could be in different levels. I mean, I'm sure a few of you have watched Netflix and some of these interesting shows they have there. So it exists in that level. Whereas some people, like especially like young people, like imagine you're going to a mini mart, you steal a chocolate bar, and you're like, ha ha ha, I'm so cool. It's a real thing. Some people do it for sport. So like, how much can I get away with?
That's the thing. There are some people that naturally like to test the limits of everything, including the legal system, right? And I think it is the law enforcer's job to enforce it, basically. Give them appropriate punishment. Don't just let them free. I heard that. No, I'm opening a can of worms now. I heard that in America you can steal up to a certain amount and not even be, what is it called? Written up? No, it's not going to go in your record or something. It's a misdemeanor. Oh.
California! California! If you know, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you should let people get away with it, especially if it's something as small as shoplifting, even though it doesn't necessarily harm anyone. It is harming, It is a bad thing to, get used to. It's a bad thing to encourage, right? And by not punishing something, I think it is a form of encouragement. Controversial. Okay. So, yes. Oh, and also that person, the question, I think it depends on the age also, right? Okay, so next question. What is the purpose of punishment? What is the purpose of punishment in relation to crime?
Well, this is kind of a hot take, but if you were to commit a crime, whatever it may be, white collar crime, non-white collar crime, something as petty as shoplifting, or something much worse,
to make regret.
Punishment exists to I mean, you do something wrong, there's naturally going to be consequences. But in my personal opinion, the biggest reason why there is punishment is a simple fact that it's a message to others to show that you shouldn't do that. For example, let me give you an example. A couple of years ago in the United States, specifically in Texas, there was a really big problem. What do you call it? So a bunch of people were stealing. What do you call it? That part in the car that they were stealing.
Huh?
You know what
part
I'm talking
of the
about?
car?
Underneath the car, the thing that they steal and they sell it in the black market.
Oh, I don't know what it's called. Is it the GPS thing? No, right?
No. So basically, imagine there's a part of a car, it's essential. A few years back in Texas, they had that problem. And the way that they addressed the problem was, first, they tackled the black market. And two, they basically made a bunch of fresh laws where if you were to, it's one of the converters, if you were to commit that crime, there's going to be a legitimate punishment. And what happened too, if I recall correctly, was once they made that rule official, they caught a few people that committed those crimes and they just made an example out of them. Because some people, when they commit crimes at any level, the punishment is to send a message. I mean, if we're going to talk about Indonesia specifically, if we're going to talk about the folks that commit acts of corruption and they get made an example out of, that's a whole other can of worms, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I agree. So the purpose of punishment is probably just to make them realize that there are some things that we can legally take away, right? Through putting you in the prison system. What? Read it.
No. Catalytic converter. That's a part. Thank you.
Oh, okay. That was the part that was stolen. Yeah.
Thank you.
That was the part that was stolen before that Dean was talking about. Okay, so in my point was, the purpose of punishment is to make the person themselves realize that, what is it called? There are some things that you are taking for granted. For example, your freedom. The freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. That's the real punishment in jail, right? So your schedule is controlled by the prison guards. You're friends with people or you're forced to be in an area with people who maybe are rougher than you, and they don't treat you well also because, some criminals are fine morally, some are not, right? And what else? Taking away your ability to see your children, limiting the ability for you to call your loved ones. Like, those are things that sometimes we take for granted and we forget that we have. And I think that's the purpose of punishment in this case, or the purpose of sending someone to jail, at least, right?
And I don't know if you guys are into those videos where they interview people in jails, people that have long sentences.
I've watched those.
And if you watch those and you ask them, like, what's it like being in jail? What do you regret? What do you miss? The number one thing that they would say is, I wish I took my family for granted. I miss my kids. I miss my wife. I miss the small yet really, really meaningful things I could do in my daily life. Just the loss of all the freedoms they didn't realize they had. It's a real thing.
Oh, Sky. There's a comment here that says, grow is self-responsibility, or to grow is your self-responsibility, I think. Can't be forced, only can be chosen. Punishment is wasting time. I don't agree. Some people, they learn from experience, right? How do you gain the experience of losing all of your freedom? How do you gain the experience of people physically blocking you from calling and meeting your loved ones? So I think that being put in jail does teach someone a lesson. You know, it does. It makes them realize, oh, this is what happens when I can't live life the way I want to live it. And it can help boost their, what is it called? Moral compass or whatever it's called. What is it called? What was she saying? Sense of responsibility or something like that. I think it can help. So I don't agree when you say that it's pointless to punish someone for doing a crime. Yeah. Oh.
Chacha Malik asks, what is a school supposed to do to handle / encourage students that join? Basically, what should a school do to prevent kids from joining gangs? And earlier I talked about how education is actually something that I guess drives some kids to join these groups. How would I say it? What's the best way to say it without me getting canceled? Because I've been in some parts of the U.S. where quite a few kids were, you know, a part of gangs. I've been in some environments where there were clearly kids. Again, at the time I was 17, 18, so they were around my age, and they were wearing something to represent that they were in a gang. And I just go, man, let's say, because when you're a kid, you're in school, you have your family life and all that, and if you don't feel like you belong, like imagine you're in school, you're the bad kid, your teachers tell you you're bad, and you come home, your parents telling you you're bad, you eventually find a place where you're accepted for who you are. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's a gang. Again, some people join gangs by choice, but some people, they join because it's all they know.
Yeah, it's all they know. It's what they know. People around them are doing it, so they do it too. You know, It is what it is. Environment is a huge factor. Where you live, who you surround yourself with. Sometimes you can't choose that, right? So, someone said KDM dan barak militer.
What does that mean?
You don't know?
No.
So basically the governor of West Java, right? The governor of West Java, he had a new program where if you are found to join like a gang or you're doing gang stuff in Indonesian high schools, he sends you to the military camp.
Oh.
Yeah, to learn discipline. So you have to do your task and stuff like that. I don't think it's the real military, but they set up something like that.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned that. I actually worked with a guy when I was in Texas. He was already super old. He told me after knowing him for months, one day he wears a hat that says Vietnam War veteran. I'm like, oh, cool hat. Where'd you get it? He's like, where'd I get it? I was in it. And I asked him, how on earth were you in the Vietnam War? And he told me when he was in high school, he basically beat up someone that wasn't very nice for him. And in his words, I only had two choices. It's either go to juvie or Sugarland. So he went to Sugarland and he fought in the Vietnam War. Told me some crazy stories. If you guys ever have the privilege of meeting a Vietnam War veteran, you will hear something. So I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Ooh. Yeah, I met like 5 Vietnam War veterans. Amazingly, they're all super old. A couple of them, you could clearly tell that they still had some trauma when they talked about the war.
What is that question? Do we outgrow punishment as we grow older?
Are we talking about like in terms of the law or in terms of like getting punished by, I don't know, your family?
I don't think you can outgrow punishments by the law. I don't think that's how it is.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible.
What do you think about punishment for corrupt people?
No comment.
I just think their wealth should be stripped from them. That's it. Whoever is proven involved, then your wealth is stripped from you. That's what I say.
And if you're interested in any of their stuff, go to the KPK office. They have auctions every so often.
KPK auction. Okay, what is this? What what punishment for those who gain more resilience? Oh, this is Sky is arguing with me. So basically, she said people who are punished too often, they gain resilience towards their punishment, and who don't have anything else unless themselves. What is that part of the question? I don't understand. I don't think you gain resilience towards a punishment. You can care less, but
maybe Sky is asking about the people that commit a crime and then they get punished, they get out and they do it again because they're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I think we might see that in white collar crimes, wouldn't you say so?
That's true.
I mean, I'm sure we've seen and we know of quite a few cases of somebody commits a white collar crime, they're in jail for 3, 4, 5 years, maybe a decade at most, and they come out and all the wealth they got is still there waiting for them to come home and they get to live the rest of their life comfortably. I know that in some parts of the world, that's pretty much the case.
Someone said violence and force is never the answer. I agree with that, right? But I don't agree with force. You know, you could force someone to learn a lesson. I think you can. Violence is probably not the answer.
And if they do that, it's because they want to send a message.
Exactly.
Interpret that however you want.
Okay, so are punishment and revenge the same? That's an interesting question. Are punishment and revenge the same?
So if we're talking about it from the legal perspective,
no.
I would say no. But if we're talking about it from a personal perspective,
it could be.
Could be, maybe. I mean, I'm sure that some people have seen some crimes, and when the criminal gets punished, they're like, yeah, that's revenge for whatever he did, maybe. But yeah, that's a pretty...
There are some people that commit crimes for revenge. But for example, your mother is killed, and then you kill the killer, and you automatically, in the eyes of the law, become a criminal, right?
Yep.
Now, in that case, what do you think should happen?
Yeah, that's really tough. Because I don't know about you guys, but at least in the US, I'm sure you guys have seen your fair share of stories of somebody that killed someone in a family, or I don't know if this is a banned word, but it's the P word.
Okay, don't say it.
Yep, we know it's a word.
Yeah.
Like some people commit those very treacherous acts, and the child's father, parent, sibling, they go to the guy that commits a crime and, I don't know, eliminates them. And they're just like that, they're considered criminal, but in the eyes of the people, they're a hero because they did what I'm looking for TikTok Live appropriate words to say this.
Please do not violate any community guidelines. Okay. Oh, someone said here, there's so many comments. Oh my God. Okay, wait a minute. So revenge is personal. Yes, that one is true. Punishment is good to give a deterrent effect. Okay. Revenge is to give a sense of remedy for the victim, or to give a sense of satisfaction. Yeah, it could be, right? Okay, wait a minute. The dude is from Texas. He's orang Jakarta, anak Jaksel. Okay, what is this? Punishment is for the greater good in the society or community. Yeah, that's how it should be. Some people change with soft-spoken warning. Some need violence. I don't think violence is the right word to put there. Yeah, some need to experience, what is it called? Harsher reprimanding.
I mean, if we're going to look at history, like way back history, back in the day, you could commit a little crime and they're going to hang you in public. So I don't think that's going to fly well in this day and age.
Upload di YouTube nggak nanti? Iya. Okay. Cancel culture and viral punishment, fair or cruel?
Cancel culture is the worst thing that's ever happened in modern day.
No, it depends on what you say. There are some things that you say that should be canceled. That's the thing. There are some things. Because you can say anything on the internet and nobody is there to hold you accountable. However, there are some people that are actually spreading dangerous ideologies that should be stopped, right? Even though I don't agree with cancel culture that are on trivial things, like super, super trivial things. That is too much. You said you don't like cancel culture at all.
Not at all. For me, hot take, hate me, disagree with me, it's okay. My take on cancel culture is everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and if whatever the heck they preach, if you listen and you agree with them or disagree with them, that's up to you. Because at the end of the day, it's your opinion to interpret whatever they want to say, And in this day and age, especially because of social media, anyone can, click record and say whatever the hell they want.
So a way to combat that would just be smarter, and that's a hard thing to say. I mean, it's hard to, what is it called, do, because then you would need to raise everybody's education level, have critical thinking and everything like that. And that's a whole other can of worms.
Because the thing I don't like about cancel culture itself is the fact that, someone could say one wrong thing or say something and it gets interpreted the wrong way and suddenly they're canceled. I'm like, dude, come on. I think cancel culture is way, way, way too far.
Okay, let's continue. We have one more question. Will crime become less common in the future? Oh, this is a hard question to answer. Okay, so I'm gonna lean more towards it will become less common because we're going to have a better system at detecting it. That's what I'm gonna say, right? With the development of cameras, with the development of what is it called? Everybody is constantly being monitored in one way or another. I think it will be easier for us to detect if someone is committing a crime or not. Therefore, what is it called? People will be punished appropriately, right? So I think that could be a thing. But however, new crimes or new types of crimes with the development of technology is constantly appearing. So I don't know if we're going to have less crime or not.
My take on the future of crime is pretty straightforward. As long as our needs as human beings are fulfilled, then naturally the crime will go down. But for example, if the cost of living keeps going up, if the needs of your average human being remain unfulfilled, and if it gets worse and worse, then people will have no choice but to resort to crime. Because I don't know if you guys know the Maslow hierarchy of needs, referred to that. Because as human beings, if our needs are taken care of, then we won't need to resort to crime. But if everything becomes more and more inaccessible, then naturally crime's going to go up. It's just how it is.
Okay, agree with that. Diz in the comments also said, crime will never be totally gone. Human greed knows no limit. Yeah, true, but not all humans are completely unreasonable, right? That's one thing that we have to keep in mind. Not all humans are inherently bad, and not all greed is inherently bad. You can be greedy for knowledge, you can be greedy for things that are relatively more positive than others. So, yeah. Even though I agree with human greed knows no limit, I don't think everyone is crazy enough, to do something that is completely criminal.
And also, it's important to take note, in some cases, it's always the few bad apples that spoil the bunch.
That too. Okay. So, okay, crime will always be part of human society. Yeah, I think that it's true. But the severity may increase or decrease depending on, like what Dean said, if our needs are fulfilled or not.